Yeah, hey Sam, welcome to the No Excuses, No Bullshit podcast. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for
How's it
having me.
going?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, man. A lot of
Okay.
work done already for Saturday, and yeah, I'm already looking forward to the next workout. Sunday is always fun day, like I have my 3 hours workout there.
Nice. Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. Saturdays are my long run day, so I did 13 miles this morning, which was a struggle. I procrastinated on it for a long time, I'll be honest. But I got it done. It was all good.
yeah, but you also, I mean, you have a different life situation too now, so yeah, it's a lot of things changed, right? Yeah, maybe we can start at your background. Would be nice to hear a little from it. Yeah, just how is it going? What are the goals? Like, let us have some insights.
Yeah. So, I mean, brief background, I guess. Many moons ago, probably like I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I was kind of in a rut, multiple bad habits, no discipline, all the standard stuff. I was like smoking weed pretty much every day. I was drinking multiple times a week and um, not really going anywhere with my life, basically. And I basically just got frustrated with it. I'd set all these goals, and then each new year would come round, and I'd look at this sheet with the same goals written, and I tried countless times to change things around, and I read the self-help stuff. I basically tricked myself into thinking I was improving just by consuming the content. And then the change for me, I think, was I started with a single push up a day, and that was literally it. And my idea was that I was just going to be consistent with something rather than worrying about whether it was getting the results. So the one push up a day was to, I was doing it to build discipline rather than to get healthy. And then that one push up, long story short, basically I built it up, and then I got into the running and eventually ultra running, and I just kind of increased the distances, and the rest is history really. And then the big change that you were talking about is I had a kid 11, well, nearly 12 weeks ago now, and
Congrats,
everything's
man.
been,
Congrats
yeah,
again.
thank you.
Congrats
I
again.
mean, everything's been absolutely flipped on its head, and it's been like a hard 12 weeks, to be honest.
Yeah, totally. Like also with the sleep, I think that's a big change, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
and there you immediately see how important sleep is. I mean, it's not the how long it is, it's not about the hours, but I think it's mostly about the quality, and the more disruptions you get, the more tired you are in the morning.
Yeah, I think a big realization for me actually over the past 12 weeks is, so before the 12 weeks, I was kind of dead set on I would go to bed at this specific time. I would get my 7, 8 hours, whatever it was, and I'd wake up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 every single day, and I would write for 90 minutes, and then I'd do an hour workout religiously every single day, exactly the same. And it became like fairly straightforward because I'd built that habit, I'd built that routine. Obviously, a kid comes along, everything gets flipped on his head. And the big thing I've realized is, whereas before, if I got less than that 7 or 8 hours, the next day I was all in my head. I was like, oh, I don't feel good. I can't do this. This is hard. I can't do that. Whereas now I feel like I can almost perform, I feel like at a similar level, despite the amount of sleep I've had or the broken sleep that I've had. And so I think it was a lot of mindset for me. It was more in my head. Like, obviously sleep is important, but I think I gave it more weight than I needed to. It became an excuse. If I didn't have my 8 hours, then the next day I almost assumed that I was going to feel bad. But now I might get, I don't know, 4 hours of broken sleep, and the next day I'm still able to feel okay, have a cup of coffee, and work pretty much okay. Obviously, I'm maybe not as good as I would have been, but that's been a big thing for me. Realizing that I don't need as much sleep as I thought, and there's been like a period of time she's sleeping fairly well now, and I'm getting about 6 hours a night, which before I would have like that would have been horrible. Now it feels like bliss.
Yeah, man. Like,
6 hours. Yeah. So that's been a big thing for me actually.
yeah, your body adapts. That's awesome. And also what you said about the mindset. Like, I have also an example with, I mean, it's not as hard as your situations at the moment, but when my muscles are very sore, and you know, the handstand push-up, especially the L-sit to handstand, that's very tough if you have no, like, if you're really sore, you know, like if the muscles are really sore and you really need power for that. And the thing is, doing it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the morning, and also in the evenings in the gym session, but especially on Monday after the Sunday workout that really hits hard, like the 3 hours, I always assume I'm not even able to do 1 rep. So what I did this Monday, I assumed I can do it, even though the muscles were really sore, and I did it. Like, that's strange how much influence what your thoughts have.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I before I say my bit, I just want to say I'm so jealous of your L-sit to handstand.
Yeah, but it's not clean yet, man. It's not clean yet, man.
I mean, at least you can do something. It's cool. But yeah, so a big thing that because obviously with the ultra running, there's a fair few races and ultra endurance things that I've done that I've maybe booked onto something before I felt ready, or a race has been coming up and I really feel like I can't do it, or I'm not ready, or whatever it is. And it's quite morbid, I guess. But a big thing I think before each race is, if someone was to hold a gun to my wife's head and said, you have to complete this race or we'll shoot her, I would do it. No questions asked. It would be like, whether I ran, walked, crawled over the line, or whatever else it was, I would do that race. So it's not a physical limitation, it's a mental one. And I remind myself that of so many things. If I feel like I can't do something, I just think to myself, if someone was to hold a gun to my wife's head or anyone I loved and said, do that or we will shoot, then would I be able to do it? And obviously there's things that I probably still couldn't do, like an L-sit to handstand.
Man, it's just practice. Practice.
I was actually just thinking about it then, and I was thinking, if someone had that, how hard would I try, and how close, or how much closer would I get to that than I feel like I can do now? And maybe even I would be able to do it potentially.
Yeah, man. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. A big thing. Yeah, I think having that thought is very powerful, I think, and it shows you that a lot of the stuff that you do, it's not a physical limitation, because I argue that you can do a hell of a lot more than you think if someone had a gun to a loved one's head.
Yeah, but that's gold, man. Like, that's like what you just said is gold. Like, I think you were so right. The thoughts and your mindset will stop way before than your body will. Like, you are capable of way more than you think, like at most of the times. And yeah, two very good examples for that. Like, regarding the ultra marathon, what are your daily habits to prepare now? Because when is the ultra marathon?
So I've got 100 miles coming up on the 6th of April, and
okay,
it was meant to be on, what was the date? It was meant to be on the 11th of May, or I've still got a race booked for the 11th of May, a 100-mile race. That was the original one. And I decided to bring it forward, whatever it is, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And instead of doing a race, I'm now doing 25 laps of a 4-mile route around my house, or near my house. The reasoning for that, part of it is because training for a 100-mile race with a kid is fucking hard, and it's taken up a hell of a lot of time. So the sooner I can get it done, the sooner I can like calm down on the training. So that was probably the biggest reason, to be fair. but also part of it was I didn't want to do it as a race. I wanted, because I'm raising money for a dementia charity, because two of my grandparents have dementia, and it's
great,
tough
man.
years around that. So I wanted to raise money for that, and I wanted the challenge to be not like a big organized thing and just something I was doing on my own. And yeah, part of what I was just saying before, I feel like it's more like a mindset thing, that after a certain amount of physical preparation, it's all in your mind. I think I'll come back to you after I give it a go. But so in my head, I thought 5 weeks of training isn't going to be the difference. I don't think it's going to be the difference between me being able to complete it and me not. So yeah, I didn't want to waste any more time training for it, so I brought it forward. It might be a mistake, I don't know.
We will see, but I think you will do awesome, man.
Yeah. But sorry, in terms of daily habits, I mean, with the now having a kid, habits have become very different for me. So whereas before, like I was saying, I would be able to build a habit like fairly straightforwardly, because I could pick a certain time and I would do that every day, and it would just become like clockwork, and I'd kind of got into the rhythm of being able to build good habits. Now I have a kid, I don't get like a slot at 9 a.m. every day for whatever time. It just doesn't happen, and it's maybe I'm sure it will get better in time when she's got a bit more of a routine and that kind of thing. But at the moment, it's a struggle to find a regular time slot, especially for the amount of hours that I need. So at the moment for me, it's very like sporadic, where I know the runs that I need to do. Like I'm exercising every day, I'm doing something every day. When that is varying. So it's still a habit in that I'm doing it daily, but it's not so much a habit in terms of same time, same place, every single day kind of thing.
But it doesn't be at the same time. It doesn't need to. It's not required to be at the same time, right? Like every day. I think it's just important that you show up every day, and if you find a slot, that's awesome. I also have routines, like the morning routine or the evening routine, but I also struggle sometimes to do the stuff at a fixed time. Then I just try to find some single slots and just spread the routine. That's also fine. I think it's important to show up, and like that's impressive that you still show up with your goals, with the workouts and stuff. Although you are in a very tough situation right now, like a lot of stress and stuff, not enough sleep. Like that's impressive. That's impressive.
It hasn't been without its failures, I'll be honest.
Sorry?
I said it hasn't been without its failures. I say the last 12 weeks I've learned so much in terms of like prioritization and kind of doing the work without feeling like it a lot, because I've rarely felt like doing it, I'll be honest, over the last 12 weeks. Whereas before I would really enjoy, like for example, the run I was saying this morning. My long run used to be on a Sunday, and I would really look forward to that, because I would wake up, I could start my long run like later in the day at like, I don't know, 9-10 a.m. and I could go and do that, and then I'd come back. If it was a cold day, I would come back and have a bath, and it would just be really nice. Whereas now, like this morning, my wife was exercising at about 10:15, so I had to wake up and go out at about 6 a.m. ish, do my 13-mile run, and then I couldn't have a bath when I got back because she had to go out and get ready and go out and do her thing. So I basically had a quick shower, had to look after the baby. So it's not as enjoyable as it was before, and I definitely procrastinate a lot more, I'd say, on each run. But I do it. I get it done, which is the main thing, I guess.
Yeah, man, that's impressive, honestly. Like most people just skip entirely. Like they stop doing the things. But as with every habit, showing up daily is the key, I think. And that also comes to the question, like, what do you think, like, how important are habits for your personal success? And what are your goals for 2024? Like, maybe just name the biggest three. Like, what's your plan for the year? That would be awesome.
Yeah, so in terms of that first question, if you had asked me that a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, I probably would have said like 100% most important thing, get your habits in order. That's fine. But I mean, and it is, but I feel like it's kind of a means to an end. So it's more like an identity thing, I guess, and building that identity of like, I'm the kind of person that does XYZ. So I'm the kind of person that does the work despite feeling like it. I'm the kind of person that that I don't know, does the thing that benefits my future self rather than what I want to do now. And I think habits play a massive part in that. So if we're going back to my like story or whatever you want to call it, the reason I was able to change my identity to someone that seeked pleasure and comfort and all that, to now where I am more able to do the things that benefit my future self, the reason I was able to do that was starting with building that exercise habit of the push-up. So I think for me personally, in my life, building those habits is a means to change that, the identity, I guess. But for me now, having the kid, if I had only built these good habits and my identity was still that of someone that isn't able to put in the work, and I was only able to kind of stick to these habits because I'd done the same thing every day, then I wouldn't be able to then have a kid and work out ways to do the work or work out ways to do it despite not feeling like it. So I think habits solely by themselves, maybe not, but habits in terms of building that identity, maybe more, personally, because yeah, with just the habits, it all would have gone to shit basically. And yeah, maybe I would have been able to build these habits again eventually, but it's more been that I've built that more disciplined identity, that I was able to get in a quick 30-minute workout whilst she was napping, even though I was knackered, or I've been able to wake up earlier despite having that bad sleep or whatever it was. So yeah, that's my kind of, I guess, view on habits at the moment. And then in terms of my goals for 2024, so a big thing for me, or a big realization that I've had that's been amplified since having a kid, is that I have been focusing on like a lot of things at one time. So instead of having like one main goal, I would have one big health goal, one big like wealth or business goal, and one big, like relationships goal or whatever it is. And I would be working at them all at the same time, which was sort of okay before. Like, I guess it's kind of worked until this point, but then I had a child and I was trying to work towards the 100-mile. I was trying to build my business and do all that kind of thing. And I was then also trying to maintain my marriage and that kind of stuff. And A, I was like massively burning out. And B, I was giving about 20% for all of them, rather than, so it was just making it a lot harder. So a big thing for me in 2024 is focusing on like one main thing, with obviously caring for my daughter alongside that. So for me, obviously Q1 is this 100-mile. That's my like sole focus. That has meant that the business is sort of on autopilot at the moment. It's like taking a little bit of a back seat. Then once this 100-mile is out the way, I'm moving away from ultra endurance because it's so time consuming for me. I'm moving more towards strength training,
Phoenix, maybe.
yeah, and strength and calisthenics, that kind of thing, which I've always done, but again, because I've tried to do it alongside ultra endurance, it's just never it's never got the time of day that it should have done. So I've never made the progress that I could have done. So yeah, it'll be mainly calisthenics, and I will be focusing on business related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that goal is going to be, but because I'll come to that after I finish this 100-miler. But yeah, I'm kind of excited of doing things this way. Like once I finish that 100-miler, then I'll focus solely on business stuff, and then after that, it might be on another thing. And rather than splitting my attention between everything, it will be this in quarter one, this in quarter two, and rather like seasons of life, I guess, like 90-day sprints towards one goal, and then another 90-day sprint. And hopefully that, I mean, even just recently dropping a lot of stuff and putting stuff on autopilot to focus solely on this 100-miler has freed up so much like mental bandwidth for me. And it's been so like just nice. Like I was getting so stressed out with all the stuff that I was trying to do, and it's been nice to just think, right, my sole focus is this 100-mile and obviously caring for a baby.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you made a good point. Like the focus is very important, and I'm just realizing that too. Like I have always so many new ideas, and I put them all on my agenda, and I'm trying to tackle all of them at the same time. So now I also made some focus points for the year. Some I really want to focus on are the mobile app, for example, like the business, the coaching biz, and yeah, in general, my fitness journey. Well, right, that's also very time consuming at the moment. Also calisthenics, and you said like, okay, calisthenics and the marathons, it's not working well together. Both are very time consuming. And I had the same idea to improve my VO2 max with some more HIIT sessions. But man, it's also time consuming, you know, like I'm always trying to do everything at the same time. So I said like, no, let's just go for calisthenics now. And that's what I'm going for, a little gym besides to pump up the muscles a little, but main focus is calisthenics. Like there are so many opportunities out there, you know, like you could do everything, but unfortunately we just have 24 hours, right? That's the issue. Yeah.
That's it. And it's I think, well, I first heard it from James Clear, I think, the 4 burners theory. Have you heard that? Where like imagining that your life is I'm going to butcher this, imagining your life is like 4 kind of burner stoves. Each stove represents a different area, so you've got like health, work, family and friends, and you're pumping the gas to the stoves, and if you pump more towards say work, then it detracts it from all the others. And it's about deciding how much you want to put towards each. So take like someone like Elon Musk, obviously pumps a lot towards work, maybe isn't as healthy as he could be, isn't a great family man from what I gather. I don't know, he might be, but obviously his work and wealth is like super sky high. So that was the big thing for me, is how much can I pump up work and health without neglecting like family, mainly family, like friends can but yeah, mainly at the moment for me is like that family, like especially not neglecting like my marriage, and obviously especially not neglecting my daughter. And that means that I won't be able to perform as much in some of these as maybe I could have done if I didn't have that, but that's fine by me. But yeah, what I was saying is it means that I can't pump both of those at the same time, health and work, and also expect to have family sky high. But then the other thing, I think it was maybe a friend, Toby Emmons, I think, said about how can you increase that gas flow to the stove. So it's not just about distributing the gas you have, it's about increasing that energy to each of these.
Yes.
So staying healthy is obviously a way to increase that energy as well. And yeah, there's a lot of ways.
Yeah, all the success and money in the end will have no value if you're sick. That's it, you know. And I think it's a marathon. No, I mean, I'm sure it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? Like it may take some more years or some more months, like probably years, but like doing small incremental steps, that's the name of the game, I think. And it's not about doing big steps all the time. Like we should also have a life besides, I would say. Yeah, like I'm just watching the clock, and I think yeah, we are coming to an end. And I would be happy to have you in the call again, like in the podcast again very soon.
Yeah,
After the marathon would be
yeah,
a good chance, right?
I can tell you all about my 100-mile
Yeah,
failure.
man. I wish you all the best for it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to come back, and I'd always love talking to you, Mitch. I mean, I think we could talk for hours.
Yeah, man. Like we could have a 5-hour call too. Maybe we will do some live stream anytime. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
Keen for that. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
man. Have a nice weekend, man. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye.